It's Memorial Day weekend, and instead of honoring our fallen heroes, our real fallen heroes, the WNBA chose to honor George Floyd. Instead of honoring the men and women who sacrificed their lives. So I have the freedom to talk about this dump of a league. The WNBA decided to honor Jorge? Really? No wonder this dump is struggling. No wonder they can't fill arenas if Caitlin Clark isn't playing. Who in the hell's gonna buy tickets to see a memorial of George Floyd? But KC, they weren't buying tickets to honor George Floyd. That was just an added bonus. They bought tickets to see the elite athletes in the WNBA. The Minnesota Lynx have Napheesa Collier. She's a huge star. Who in the hell is they? Is that the preferred pronoun for the handful of people that bought tickets and were in the audience Friday night? Maybe they bought tickets, but them damn sure didn't. Neither did he, she, I, you, me, her, him. The announced attendance in the Target Center in Minneapolis Friday night was just over 8,000. But as you're about to see, there is absolutely no way there were 8,000 people in that arena. Hell, I was struggling to count 800. It would not surprise me if the actual attendance was 8. This league can't get the hell out of its own way. Saturday afternoon, the New York Equality, formerly known as the New York Lesbians. The Equality and the Indiana Caitlin Clarks put on one hell of a show. In a league of pretend basketball, there was actually a semblance of real basketball on CBS Saturday afternoon. Now, layups were still being missed, but there were also layups being made. Caitlin Clark struggled from 3 in the first half, but as great players often do, Caitlin Clark came alive in the second half. Even though the Indiana Felines lost on a controversial play in the final seconds, this game should have been the dominating story throughout the media. For the first time, possibly ever, the on-court product in the WNBA should have been the dominant story. But it wasn't. Because once again, the WNBA could not get out of their own way. The dump just can't quit being the dump. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the main channels in the description below. Friday night, the female Sons of Connecticut, they loaded the Greyhound bus to travel to Minnesota to play the Lynx. My inside sources informed me over the weekend that this road trip was delayed by several hours. One of the female Sons, she forgot to pack her bottle of Just for Men, and they had to make a stop at CVS to buy some, which was a major problem because the minimum wage salaries in the WNBA, they make Just for Men unaffordable for most players. If they forget their complimentary bottles that was donated by Just for Men as a sponsorship of the league, having to purchase it can be a terrifying experience. They got to pull their money together, which is tough because their colleagues in the WNBA, they don't have money, which means they've got to ask strangers. As professional panhandlers will tell you, it takes time to raise $20 from strangers. So the female Sons were running a bit behind, but they eventually made it to Minnesota in time to honor their fallen hero, George Floyd. I'm sure they were expecting a packed house. I'm sure they were expecting thousands of people in the arena. For most of these ladies, this had the potential to be the largest crowd of their career. Hell, for some of them, if the crowd size equaled triple digits, it'd be the largest crowd of their career. As they made their way to the court for shoot-around, the female Sons from Connecticut were disappointed. The arena was empty, but that's okay. That's okay. The memorial wasn't scheduled for another 30 minutes or so. By the time Napheesa Collier made her way to half court to honor the courageous George Floyd, I'm sure it would be standing room only. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Watch for yourself.
Thank you guys for taking a minute to honor the life of George Floyd. George was a father, a brother, and a son. And his life, like every life, held meaning. His death exposed the holes that are still in our justice and criminal institutions today. And his 5-year anniversary reminds us that we must continue the fight against criminal, racial, and social injustices. We cannot stay silent. Every life deserves respect and dignity. Thank you.
I tried to count the amount of people that were in attendance Friday night, but I lost count at 8. And I'm sure those 8 were the parents of the players. No one showed up to see the WNBA honor their fallen hero. No one showed up in Minneapolis to watch a painfully boring game of pretend basketball. Supposedly, Napheesa Collier is one of the stars in the WNBA. She's one of the players responsible for launching that secondary dump unrivaled. All kidding aside, Napheesa Collier seems like a great young woman, but the problem with a lot of these so-called stars in the WNBA, the problem with some of these women who can actually play basketball, they get overshadowed by one of the many women who showcases a complete lack of skill. They get overshadowed by Angel Reese, who for reasons unknown continues to be protected by the WNBA. If I were a dump diver in this league, I wouldn't be jealous of Caitlin Clark. Hell, I'd appreciate Caitlin Clark for bringing awareness to the league. If I were a dump diver, I would be pissed off with Angel Reese, because Angel Reese receives protection from the league she hasn't earned. Angel Reese receives attention from the media she hasn't earned. And the attention given to Angel Reese, it could be given to some of these women who actually know how to play basketball. Instead, what does the WNBA do with Napheesa Collier, who's actually a decent player? They ruin any chance of her being liked by having her memorialize George Floyd on a weekend that's designed to honor fallen heroes in the military. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.